entire coaching career in this state, right?
I have.
What about this opportunity about Willie drew you here?
Well, I think of it really is probably two things. First would be Coach Fritz. Got to know Coach Fritz in 2010 when he recruited my brother Brian at Sam Houston, and man, just fell in love with him and his program and what he believed in, and a lot of the same beliefs that I have. Followed his career from there to Georgia Southern and then Tulane, and just been a guy I've always admired and had a great relationship with. And so I knew if the opportunity ever came, it would be a guy I'd want to work for, a guy I have a lot of belief in. And then second would be, the University of Houston. I've been a part of this conference for the last 7 years as a coach and played in this conference. And you look at the conference, the dynamics of the conference. I think this place in the University of Houston has a great opportunity right now with the changing and of the guards per se maybe, and a great opportunity to really step in and have a big footprint in this conference. And so, I was at a good place in this conference, my alma mater, and a special place to my heart. But those two things led me here and where I want to be.
When you look at where you guys obviously won a Big 12 championship over there, you played for another, so you know what it is to succeed at the highest level in this conference. When you walk in here and you see what's here, and from whether infrastructure, talent standpoint, what does this program need to get to that level in your opinion?
Well, I think it's going to take time. I don't think it's something that's going to happen overnight. The first thing this program needed was Willie Fritz. I know he's won everywhere he's been, and he's going to win here, and we're going to win here. And so that piece is in place. Before I took the job, Coach Fritz told me to drive down here and look around. He said, before you take it, because you hear all these things about this or that, and so I drove around, and he told me the commitment to the facility, the new building that's being built up, and the resources that we have, and it all starts there in this conference. And to play big boy football, you got to have resources, and the commitment is there. And then from a talent standpoint, we played Houston this year, lost to them in overtime, and I know what the gap looks like. I know what's good and bad. I mean, I watched our receivers work out this morning. We have as much skill as anybody in the conference, and so there's not a huge gap. But I have so much faith in Coach Fritz and what we're going to build that we know we can achieve it.
Shawn, the role with quarterbacks coach / pass game, can you kind of maybe give us a little insight on what your philosophy is, or is it a matter of tailoring to what you have, or do you try to have them learn it first?
No, absolutely. I think it all starts with Coach Barbet, our offensive coordinator. So he's ultimately going to be calling the shots and making the decisions. It's all going to come down to what he wants. But Coach Barbet is a guy I've known actually since 2006. And when I was at Baylor, he was a student assistant and was a GA there. Really, really close friend, and a guy that I think a lot like. He's been a guy that through the years we've bounced ideas off of each other. So I know we're really excited about working together finally. I know that as far as what we're going to do is we're going to get the best players on the field and get the best players of football. And I think right now you look at our skill set. I know the previous staff did a great job of recruiting wideouts. I can see a ton of talent out there, and I know in the quarterback room it's our job to find them. And as a passing game coordinator, ultimately we're going to create passes off the runs. We're going to start by running the football and doing things right and taking care of the football. But when we go to throw it, we're going to make sure the playmakers touch it and get it to the right people.
Shawn, what do you think so far of this time in the meeting room, whatever you've been able to see of the quarterbacks that you're on the roster?
Oh, really excited, really excited. First, it starts with the type of people they are. That's a really close group, and you're adding me and then Zion into the group, and they've really taken me on with open arms, and I think they're just hungry. I think they're hungry for something new and hungry to see. Kids are pretty resilient, and what direction are we going? They want to head that direction, and so the first meeting we had went really well, and just every day just trying to pour into them so they see who I am, because I think once they know that, they'll hopefully run through a brick wall for me. And man, just a talented group. Really excited they can all throw it, they can all run it, and I think the sky's the limit in that room.
Outside of times when you went to China Springs and was with family,
Yes, sir.
Like you said, it's all been Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes take that right situation to pull you away from a place that's like your second home all of a sudden.
Well, I think it starts with I spent 6 years in Magnolia West. I was a head high school coach right down the road. And so I've lived in Houston. My boys were actually born at the medical center at Texas Women's. And so I think, I guess that's not really the medical center, but in Houston. And spent some time in the medical center. And so I spent 6 years here. And so, for me, I think the first question was, I've never left the state of Texas, and I haven't. I really don't plan to. And so it had to be a special place, that was probably in Texas and close to family. But ultimately, I think Houston's a place that I take a lot of pride in and enjoyed my time here. And that was what the draw was.
When you're that close to campus, as when you were at Magnolia, did you kind of watch from afar, maybe see? I mean, you kind of know where the state of things are, and coaches are coming in, they're recruiting your kids. But when you took that drive, when Willie said, "Hey, come check," was it completely different years later? From
Oh, absolutely. The first time I think I stepped on campus would have been maybe like 2002 as a recruit, and then also I think All-Star game was in Houston at that time. They had the high school All-Star game, and I know I came through multiple times, and just it's definitely changed. I followed the program really close when Coach Browse was here and the success that he had, and then obviously Coach Herman and the run that he had, and so it's something that I've really paid close attention to. And as a Texas high school coach growing up, you're following all the colleges, and the recruiters are coming through, and you're getting to build those relationships. And University of Houston has always been a program I really thought highly of.
Shawn, what does that high school experience do for you? The head coaching experience. I mean, Magnolia West it's really blown up.
Yes, sir.
Since really you left.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you learn? I mean, you've gone every step of the way, to get where you are now. What did the high school experience do for you?
Well, I think it taught me a lot. I think it taught me first would be there's no job too big, no job too small, right? And I mean, from doing the laundry to painting the fields to all the different things that it takes, I know that told me the importance of hard work, but then also the importance of relationships. I'm now recruiting high school kids, and so I had a chance to spend 10 years as a high school coach where I knew how they operate. I know what they're thinking. I know what their day looks like. I know what the high school coach's day looks like. So when I walk into a building, I know if they're excited to see me or not happy to see me. And so a lot of that's just all paid dividends as far as a recruiter as well. You look at it's funny you say that because it's the same thing Coach Fritz did. Coach Fritz was the same way as his career went on. And so, I think being able to go through the high school ranks really teaches you a lot and just prepares you for just about everything.
When you look at around the staffs in Texas, there's a lot of ex-high school coaches on staff. It feels like it's just probably about every school in the state, or certainly every FBS program. Why do you think that has become such an important thing for coaches to have on staff? Is like, hey, we've got to have some former Texas high school coaches on these staffs.
Yeah, I think it always ultimately recruiting, right? I mean, in the state of Texas, it's the best high school football in the nation's played in this great state, and so the relationships that those high school coaches have with other high school get your foot in the door and build those connections. And I think the familiarity of what high school football is really like helps, because there's certain schools that, I think you're advantageous when you have certain people on staff that you can recruit and attack. And so I think it starts there, but I think also high school coaches in Texas work like college football coaches, right? I mean, I remember my schedule as a head high school coach wasn't much different than what my schedule is now, and so they know that the high school coach in Texas has the work ethic, the commitment, the drive, the knowledge. I mean, there's a lot of football coaches in this great state that could be sitting right where I'm at and do a better job than I can, and so I think nobody takes that for granted.
The relationship part, how important is that, especially like when you're trying to evaluate prospects and trying to get like the nitty gritty on him? If it's a guy that you've known since you were at Magnolia West or Cedar Ridge, how, I guess, valuable is that relationship in recruiting? Yeah,
I think, when the phone rings and it's certain people, when you're answering it, what you're getting. There's certain people that are going to sell their kids regardless, but a lot of times you've got relationships with these coaches, and when they when they say a prospect's name, it carries weight and it carries value, and so those relationships mean the world. And I think so there's a lot. It's a two-way street. I think I've got to be honest with them when there's players that can play here, can't play here. I got to do a great job of communicating with them, and I've got to earn their trust. And in the same token, I think they've got to earn my trust that their evaluation and their words mean what they mean.
At Baylor, you faced Donovan
Yeah.
at Tech, and here I'm not sure while you're worried about it, how you're going to attack defenses, how much you've seen of him on film, but any early impressions of sort of some of the quarterbacks you're inheriting?
I'd be lying if I didn't say Donovan played into my decision. I know that I played against Donovan, I coached against Donovan the year we won the Big 12 championship in the Sugar Bowl. It was the last game we had. We had to win it to get in the Big 12 championship. And Blake Shapen was our backup quarterback at Baylor. It was his first start, and I think it was Donovan's third or fourth start that year, and he played lights out. It came down to a last-second field goal they missed. I thought, man, this kid's, the Big 12 is going to know about Donovan for a long time. And, one of my best friends just so happened to be the new head coach at Texas Tech, and so when I was following him extremely close, and I saw his feat and what he did against the University of Texas, and I think the University of Houston the year before he got here, and Joey would probably kill me if I said this, but I just remember thinking, man, this kid's really, really, really talented. And so when he came here and I saw what he did to us last year, the win in overtime using his legs and the abilities that he has and the type of person and leader that he is. So when Coach Fritz did call me, those factors played into it. And he's a guy I want to coach along with other guys in that room, but I'm really excited about Donovan.
As long as the skill set's there, do you have a preference on how you use quarterback? I mean, you mentioned his ability to run. I mean,
right.
You can have best of both worlds.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're always going to maximize and play to the talents of our players. And so, if we've got more of a pocket passer, we're going to stay in the pocket more. If we can create and get on the edge and use our legs, ultimately that's what you want. I think you're toughest to defend when the quarterback can move. And Donovan provides a lot of that. And we've got a lot of guys in that room. Zion provides the ability, and Lucas Coley has an opportunity to use his legs, and Uwe as well. And we've got a young freshman that I like moving around in there as well. So I think all those guys are able to move, and that's a big part of the game these days. Is nobody just sits back there and is able to drop back and pat it and throw it. I think you've got to be able to create, and you got to get off schedule and go perform.
The tools that Donovan has, I guess he's 6'5", 235, 240, and obviously seems like he can move and throw it. I guess how would you sum up his just physical traits?
Yeah, I mean, I saw him at those games, and I remember looking across the field and thinking, man, he's big. Well, the first night I met him, we went to dinner, one of the first nights here, and walked in, and I just really didn't realize how big he is, And I think it says something because he's a coach's kid. It means a lot to me. I'm a coach's kid, and so the knowledge that he has of the game, the love he has for the game, the way he grew up, kind of just molded him into a great young man. And so I've just been thoroughly impressed with the type of person he is, more than just the player. Just knowing, that he's going to be a big part of our success here, and the type of leader he is.
When you're coaching the position, do you draw back on your playing days at all? Do you got to sling a little bit?
I throw it when I have to. I think these guys are much more talented than I ever was, but I really lean on that more from the mental side. I think the position is so mental, and the things that I went through, my career, you said you followed our career. My career wasn't always roses. It was definitely not roses. There were a few ups and a lot of downs, and I'm really thankful as I look back on my time as a player for those downs, because I know the quarterback position, you got to be the toughest guy on the team. And I'm not just talking about physical toughness, I'm talking about mental toughness, especially, the way these guys' names are thrown around on Twitter and social media these days, I can't imagine. And so I think the toughness I had to develop through playing has really done more for me and provided me an opportunity than any physical trait or talent I ever had. So.
When you went to China, was Brian head
Yes.
coach?
No, so my career, I went to Round Rock Stony Point was my first job. I was assistant there. From Round Rock Stony Point, I went to China Spring. My brother was the quarterback. My dad was the head coach, and I was the offensive coordinator. The next year went to Clifton High School as a head coach, and the following year went to Magnolia West. My brother then came to Magnolia West after he was done with Coach Fritz and was on staff with me there. And then he actually GA'd for Coach Fritz as well. And then we were at Baylor the last 2 years together.
He's here with you
Yes, sir. Yeah, he actually beat me here. Coach Fritz gave him the call, and I was sitting there wondering, well, wish I'd have an opportunity like that to work for him. And so he got down here a day or two, and then when the phone rang, knowing that my brother was going to be here, and then all the other things we talked about earlier, is a great opportunity.
Having read about your family and knowing how close y'all are,
Right.
is that something when you have your little, I guess, is your little brother following you around? Or?
No, I'm following him around. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my brother. His relationship with Coach Fritz provided the door for me, and I guess I'm following him here. So that's exciting. Though I know it's special for our family. He actually had a baby on Friday, and so my kids and his kids get to grow up together. That's one of the hard things about, you asked me about high school coaching versus college coaching. You're able to live in Houston your whole life as a high school coach and not have to move far. In the college game, if I pick up and move, usually it's going to have to be across the country. And so to be able to move, and my brother move, and still be close together and be able to do this together is really special.
What's your recruiting area?
So we're all going to have a piece of Houston. So the entire staff's going to have a piece of Houston. I'm going to have North Houston, which I'm familiar with from my time at Magnolia West. And then I'm going to have Central Texas, so all the way Bryan, College Station, Austin, through the Waco area. So that includes Killeen and Temple, which that's my,
Yeah,
those are my all.
Does that overlap with kind of what you did in the
That's
last
very,
one?
yeah, I didn't have I didn't have the Waco Temple Killeen area, but if you look at Killeen, I think it's Bell County, so pretty familiar with that place. I was actually born in Killeen, so.
Warren, when you're evaluating quarterbacks, obviously I know this, recruiting guys are a lot different. The trend of quarterbacks is guys throwing off platform,
Right.
and, dual threat and all that. What are you looking for when you evaluate a quarterback prospect?
Well, I think the first thing I'm looking for is toughness, right? Are you made of the right stuff? So when the bullets start flying and the bad things happen, can you overcome it? Then I look for accuracy. I don't look for arm strength. I think arm strength is natural. I think everybody can make just about every throw, but accuracy is extremely more important because I think those who can put the ball where they want it are the good ones. The third thing I would say would be the ability to create. So when things break down or it's a bad play call or we miss a guy here, he can use their legs and go make plays. And the last one's probably maybe the most important is I look for somebody that's a multiplier. So what I mean by that is they make everybody around them better. When you walk in the huddle or you take the field, the X, the Y, the Z, the tailback, the left tackle, everybody, the defense on the sideline, everybody thinks we're about to win and we're about to score on this drive because you're making everybody around you better. And so those are kind of the characteristics I look for.
Has it become more challenging to evaluate because, or even maybe if you're taking a guy out of the portal, because guys are playing in multiple systems or for multiple coaches, multiple years. It used to be guys played in one system and you got to understand their skill sets. And now it feels like kind of the way things are, you guys kind of bounce around a little bit. Does that make it challenging in evaluating or understanding, hey, is this guy going to fit into what we do?
I think so. I think though, as a coach, you've got to be intelligent in the fact that you're not the likelihood of your quarterback being here and you coaching them for 4 and developing them for 5 years has really kind of gone away. You look at Donovan. We're going to have minimal time with him. We just took Zion, minimal time. He's already had some years. So the freshman to senior development isn't going to happen quite like it used to. And so as coaches, we've got to be intelligent in our offense and what we expect and how we create that to where it's going to fit everybody's capacity to learn in a short amount of time and continue to develop in that short amount of time. But yeah, I think it's easy to evaluate. I think you got to find out. I think you got to do a great job of asking the right questions to the right people. And with the guy we just signed with Zion, had a lot of connections there. So I'm asking the people I know in the building and Coach Fritz knew in the building. What's he like? How does he learn? How well we grasp our offense and those questions. And so knowing the right people and asking the right questions makes a big difference.
Does it put a premium on processing for those guys, on their ability to process?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's a big piece of it is you're not going to have the extra year to red shirt. And so if they're coming in out of the portal or they're towards the end of their career, they got to be able to come in and learn it quickly.